Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today we're going to be making a card with a new release called Better Together from Hero Art. This came out in their July release and it happens to be one of my favorite images from the release. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring today, but first I want to start with my background. Now, the reason I love several things about this release is I love the line art of this release. I love a good mid-century modern kind of look, and this fits perfectly in my head anyway. Of mid-century line art. I also have the background stamp, which is United People, and you can check that out on the Hero Arts blog. I have a card made with that, and I'm thinking about doing a tutorial with that with the new watercolors that Hero Arts has. So first, before I even stamp down this gorgeous image, I did take the Better Together sentiment. It comes in one strip. I went ahead and cut it in half so I can use it separately, but I can also put it back together where I can have the sentiment as one. Once I have everything lined up, I'm going to first stamp the image onto the center of the card panel. And that is because that area there, I want to make sure it's centered before I stamp anything else. Now, the paper I like to color on, that I'm more comfortable coloring on, is the Copic Expressive paper. That to me, I find gives me a great blend on this paper. However, I have also used the Hero Arts Dove White and also 80-pound Nina. But for some reason, when I first started Copic coloring, I gravitated to the Copic Express paper, and that just seems to still be my favorite. So I went ahead and stamped that once, and I am going to stamp it a second time because I just want to have a crisp line on this. Now, I could have only stamped it once because you're going to see I'm going to end up covering up that image anyway, but I just wanted to make sure I had good crisp black lines before I went on to my next step. Now I'm going to repeatedly stamp this image all across this panel. So I'm going to grab the backer of that stamp set, that acetate, before I put down my stamp because my stamp still has some ink on it. Excuse my head. I'm just trying to get this lined up. And like I said, I'm going to have like this black and white line art all the way around this panel. And I'm going to make a focal point towards the center. So once I get all of these stamped around this panel, you're going to see it's going to be a very striking look with just minimal coloring. I kind of like having these, what I call like almost like a spotlight card where you color just one image and you leave everything else black and white. It really makes such a stunning card. So that's what I wanted to do with this. And also to show you that you can do those spotlight colorings with images that are not like one large image. You can grab smaller images like this one here. You can grab smaller ones and still make a great panel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the left, and then I'm going to go ahead and repeat that across the bottom. But I did make a mask for this as well because I did not want to get any of the extra lines on top of the woman's head. So again, I'm going to stamp this all the way around, but leaving the opening on the side where I placed that sentiment. Because remember, I centered my image around a sentiment. So I'm going to make sure that I do not stamp where that sentiment's going to go. And again, it becomes a very pretty and graphic card with just having all the black and white and a focal point towards the center. So as you can see, I went ahead and I stamped it and I left that area for my sentiment open. So now I can go ahead and remove the masking tape, and then I just have this gorgeous design. Now we're going to get into the coloring. I'm going to just grab a scratch piece of that Copic paper and stamp this image one more time to color because I'm going to end up popping this up on top of the center one. So I went ahead and I'm stamping that twice because now I really need that crisp line. Now I am going to speed up the coloring. I would say this probably took me about 15 minutes. So I'm going to let you guys watch and listen to some music. I did want to let you know that I am trying to list all of the Copic markers that I used up here in the left hand corner of the screen. Okay, now since I have that all colored up, I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut this out. The reason I brought the color all the way down to the end of the paper is just to make sure that when I die cut that, I had that color come all the way down. So just remember, if you're coloring something, you're gonna die cut it, make sure to color past where your die is going to cut. Otherwise, you're gonna end up cutting off your color. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and run this through my die cutting machine. Now it's time to build up the card. So you see how that spotlight is going to be right on that image in the center of the card, and everything else around it's going to be black and white besides the sentiment. I love the striking look of this style of card because it really gives you just a focal point towards the center of your card to make pop out of all of that black and white. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back into my die cutting machine, my MISTI, and then we can go ahead and bring back in that sentiment. So again, this sentiment comes on one strip. I went ahead and gently just cut it in half so I can use it separately. But again, I can easily put those pieces back together and make one straight sentiment. Now that everything's lined up, excuse my head because I really need to get over the top of this to make sure it was straight. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this out. Now I wanted to pull in a little bit more of that red. So I'm using Hero Arts Red Royal ink for this because I didn't want the sentiment to just be black and white. Now, if those colors of the image look very familiar to you, I sometimes have a tendency to color with my blog colors. So my blog is these colors. I have a teal, a red, and a yellow. And I love this color combination. And I truly love doing it when I'm coloring something that just needs to represent like what my brand is. So keep in mind, if you're unsure about color palettes, if you have a blog, use the colors from your blog. Use the colors that you promote for your brand in your artwork as well. So now I have that stamped out and we're going to go ahead and start finishing up this card. Now I did trim this down and it's going to be a 5x7 card. And I did pull in the Hero Arts. I believe this is mist colored cardstock. I'll make sure to put everything in the description box below. And I'm going to place this white spotlighted piece on this. I didn't want to do white on white, so I wanted to have a little bit more of that color. And I thought the mist color was perfect because it was really that soft teal blue that I really gravitate to. I mean, you can even see like my nails. I didn't realize it, but my nails actually match everything I'm doing today. So go ahead and center that down. I mean, this piece would even look gorgeous just like this. But I want to have, again, that focal point. Now, I did see where I missed a little bit of the line work. So I'm just taking a Altenew pen, and this is a multi-liner pen, and just filling that in. Now, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have bothered the recipient, but I'm a little bit anal, and I noticed it. So I felt like I needed to make that line more solid. So once I get this done, I'm going to go ahead and take that centerpiece and pop that up in the middle. Again, it's a great focal point on a card where you just don't want to color everything, but you need color on a card. This is a great way to do it. And I think I'm going to do a lot more cards like this because I really just love that look, the simplistic look of just really nice, strong lines and just having a little bit of coloring. Now, this was perfect because I also colored this for Kathy Rakusin's 30-day color challenge. So if you guys missed that, I'll put that link in the bottom as well. Now, since this card is done, I'm going to grab some Dove White cardstock, and this is from Hero Arts, and I'm going to score this to make a 5x7 card. I don't normally make cards this big, but I am kind of gravitating to them more and more, especially if I have an opportunity to stretch a stamp set to make a panel bigger. I know Christina Warner does a lot of 5x7s when she does watercoloring, and it really is something about doing a 5x7 card. It's a little bit bigger, so you might feel like it's a little bit more intimidating, but to be honest, if you do a repeating pattern on it, it fills up beautifully. And I don't know what it is, but I'm really starting to gravitate towards these larger cards. Now, this panel, like I said, the mist panel is also 5x7, so it's going to totally cover up that white card base, and I'm totally fine with that. I didn't want to have the white on top of white, so that's why I chose to use that gorgeous blue. Now, to finish this off, I did grab some of the Hero Hues enamel dots, and just by chance, their red, their yellow, and their teal or blue pack mimics my block colors perfectly. So I thought I would add just a tiny bit more color right around that sentiment. Again, focal point all in the middle of the card. All right, everybody, that's the card for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And also, here's all my social media, and I'll see you in another video soon. Take care and have a great day.